I guess it's an installation. It's a circle of stone, 13 large stones with a circle of smaller stones, which I call the witnesses in the inside. The stones themselves all come from the island. There's sandstone, and the one large round stone on the piece behind me is actually what we call a rogue boulder that was found right here while I was excavating the site. So I liked using that here. I call them the standing babas, actually. People here call them the standing stones, but I like the standing babas. The term itself comes from, it's an old term for grandmother, and in the Baltic countries they actually did standing stones that they carved into, they called babas. And there's also a cult called the Standing Babas, who take a pledge never to sit down, and they spend their life standing up. So it seemed an appropriate title for the installation at the time. So we're here on Salt Spring, and all the stones are sandstone, and they come from here. They were blasted and then selected and then moved here. And then one by one I place the stones. They're not connected by anything, but there is a metal pin holding them, and that's to stop them from shaking if there's an earthquake, but it wouldn't stop them from falling over. So they're gravity held. It took myself and the help of another stonemason, Terry Beeman, about 13 months from the start to build this, and also a machine operator. Ron Smith, a local machine operator, had his machine here and worked on it as well through that period of time. So about 13 months from the blast at the quarry. We blasted here on the island, and then about 70 or so of the best stones were chosen and then carefully trucked here, and then started to move them around and prepare them right on the site here. So yeah, about 13 months from start to finish. They were made as I went along. I didn't have drawings or plans for each one. I'd find the best stones for the base, and then I'd mask off and find another stone that I liked the looks of that would sit on it. They all either take 2 stones or 4 stones, and they all average about 17 feet high, and they're about 17 feet apart. As much as possible the way it is, we shape the stone up. I can show more here, you know. So these stones weren't found to fit that way, of course. They're fit together, and then I would shape them up and down until they matched the way I wanted them to match. I also love that as they get older, stones, you know, like wine and not like people. Stone looks better and better as it gets older. These stones, these sandstones above ground, will probably only last maybe about 1,000 years, 500 to 1,000 years before they start to really deteriorate. That piece and that tree were always connected, you know, which goes to them being connected to this space, really. I think making a meditative space, you know, to honor the place is kind of part of what I was thinking about. Well, this is Ozymandias. It's based on the poem by Shelley, and it's 2 stones or columns that have fallen against each other and made this natural arch, trying as much as possible to make it look like it's just fallen. The stones themselves actually hold each other up, so again, they're just gravity held in place. So like a natural archway of stone, one holds up the other. So it's done that way, and hopefully it's nice and strong. It's the only time I've worked on 2 right beside each other. But no, the machine would bring the bigger stones up here. We had to make the base. They're set in a very strong base with concrete and with pins that come up from the concrete footing and right into the bottom stone. So that gives it a lot of stability on the base. But no, there was nothing too unique about it, just moving the stones up. There was an elaborate wooden form down the middle of it, which we got to pull out once the whole piece was done. So they were originally just leaning on a wood form, and then just like the old masons used to you build the archways. Basically, we built the sculpture together and then removed the form in the middle. Well, I do. I don't know it by heart. I should, but the poem is about man's immortality. And one of the things I love about stone actually is because it's perceived as being timeless. I mean, nothing's timeless, but it's a medium or something that's, you know, that lasts longer than people themselves. So when you work in stone, you know, it's something that you carry with you. That it's something that can be there a lot longer than you. Now, it's not a transient art form at all. Also, the thing I like about stone is I love stacking stones. I mean, I love the democracy of stone because I think everybody likes to stack stones and balance stones. I might do it in a bit larger scale, but I think it's an art form that human beings have been doing, you know, since the beginning of man, practically. So it's maybe I'd say one of the oldest art forms of sculpture, certainly, in the world. Well, this one's probably about 20 years old at least, if not older. It's a multiple stone and red brick piece. The stone's all from the island, and it's filled with stone in behind it. It's a simple form, a circular form, and it's held up by gravity, but to me it's got a sense of almost the East Coast because of the brick, something that I always loved, the way in old buildings brick and stone were melded or put together. It's funny, some stones are starting to deteriorate a bit. Often I go back and I add a little bit of shims and stuff, but I haven't been back to, I haven't seen this in 10 years, I bet. At least 10 years, yeah. So it's nice to see it still standing up.